Mr. Transformers 96 here with another review, this time of the Man of Steel Hot Toys figure, Superman. So here you go. So obviously another Hot Toys review. We've got Superman, one of the newly released Hot Toys figures, and yeah, so here you go. So here's the box. Overall, the box is quite nice. It's what you'd expect though, the Superman logo, but then the background is quite cool. It's you got a lot of icy mountains and everything. Looks very nice. When you turn it around, you get a little S logo here as well as it does open like this, which is kind of neat. You get all the people involved in the project, as well as you get the texture like his suit, and you can actually like feel the texture, so that's very nice. And then the figure would just go right in here, obviously. So overall, box is quite functional and everything. It's nothing too new and exciting, but it is still quite good. And yeah, but let's go over the figure now. And here's the Man of Steel outer package, but before we go into the actual figure, let's go over his accessories. So here's the hands, and as you can see, he does come with a decent amount of them. He also does come with two fists, which I have on the figure at the moment, but you get two very open hands like we always get. You get two relaxed palms, and then you also get these hands, which are new, which look very nice. I mean, they're like completely, straight out hands with the thumb out a little bit. Very much for a flying pose, to have him soaring in front of you. So very cool. He comes with all the hands that you could want. I mean, other than like a perfect hand for holding the command key, I don't see what else he can come with. So overall, the what you get is quite nice. You get two Kryptonian command keys. As you can see, you get one in 1 and 6 scale, and then you get one in 1 and 1 scale. Here's the 1 and 6 scale, obviously very small. And it does look cool. You do still get that detail. It's just incredibly small. It's very hard to see. Trying to back out. There you go. As you can see, I mean, you do still get that detail and everything. Just this is incredibly small. It's you'll be lucky if you don't lose that thing. So yeah, so I'm gonna be really careful with it, and I don't think I'll lose it. But man, that is really small, and you really can't hold it too. Like I said, I would have liked a hand that was actually meant for holding that. So I mean, if they didn't give it to us, people would be complaining. So I'm glad they did, I guess, but it's really not of any importance. This is really cool, though. This, they said that they gave us because this was their 200th Hot Toys figure, and they said that this did not raise the price at all, so that's kind of neat. And this is in scale with you or me, it's life size. It's got like, kind of breaks off at the end there. It looks very nice, and it is all die cast, so that's why you get that sound when you put it down. Very cool. I love this thing. I think it's a great accessory. Really happy that we're getting this. So very happy about this one. This one, unnecessary, but still nice that you got it. And here's the big accessory that everybody was really anticipating, including myself. As you can see, it's his base. He doesn't come with the standard Hot Toys base. You get this large one, which is very cool. Very large at the bottom here, and it is cut out in the symbol, the House of L Superman symbol, the symbol for hope. And as you can see, it looks very cool. You get all that texturing in there as well. Really nice, just like his suit. So that looks great. You get the kind of like chrome silver Man of Steel nameplate. Still haven't taken off the little piece of plastic on top of that. I don't think I will. But it's a nice dark blue on the rest of the base too, which I think looks quite nice. And then of course you do get this. It's the cradle. It goes all the way up to a clamp at the top, and the clamp does have like a little foam thing right here to help support them, and it opens and shuts just like that. Really easy. This little cap just unscrews, and then you can just pop it off, or you can just pop it on and screw it on just like that, as well as it just screws on at the bottom right here. The only thing I don't like is when you're posing it, when you like swivel it, it'll actually just like unscrew it from here, so you have to be careful. You kind of have to hold this while you're trying to move it sometimes. So that is a bit of a annoyance, but nothing too extreme. Overall, this is great though. I was looking really forward to this, and this is just has articulation all throughout it, so you can really move it wherever you want. I was expecting it to be more articulate, and I'm sure everybody was really happy with how articulate it is. But the lamps that I use are two. Here, let me just show you really fast. these are the lamps I use and for my reviews, and they have the exact same thing like this, and my lamps are more articulated than this. This does have limitations on how far it can bend and stuff, while the lamps really don't, so I was kind of expecting them to be like the lights that I use, and in reality it's a little more hindered. Still not very hindered though. You can do a whole bunch of stuff with it, which is really great, and it is a little hard if you're putting your Superman in a detolf cabinet. You want him in a flight pose on this stand. You do have to get it down low enough so that his head isn't hitting the roof, but at the same time not have it down so far, you know, that he's like touching the floor. But overall, it works out really well. Love this base. I'm really excited for Zod, although Zod's kind of got like armor all around him, so I think he's going to be a little harder to work with this thing. But overall, I'm very happy with this, and I think it's a great addition to Superman, and I'm sure a great addition to Jor-El as well. So now let's go over the figure. Alright, so now let's go on to the actual figure. Let's go over his face sculpt first. As you can see, Henry Cavill, however you pronounce his name, but here it is. Overall, looks very good. You know, it's definitely not perfection, but it's very good, and what's kind of nice with this one is it's very good from all angles. There isn't one angle that's like, oh, he looks really good from that angle, but then this next angle doesn't look so much like him. He just looks pretty good from all angles, which is nice. You know, in a few angles he looks perfect, but you know, very little of that. He's not, you know, dead on him, but he is very close, and he is very close from all angles, which is very nice. Overall, perfectly acceptable, very good. I mean, I'm guessing we're going to get a second version of this guy in the somewhat near future, you know, in a couple of years, and I definitely think that they can improve, so that will be an improvement, but I doubt it will be an improvement by much, because this is very good, and overall, really quite nice. So overall, I do really like this head sculpt. Another thing is when you kind of like tilt his head down because of the way his eyebrows are, he totally gets this really serious, menacing look, which looks really cool, and then going up, he kind of gets a more compassionate look. Very neat. I like the way that you can change emotions just by the angle that you're looking at him. Overall, that is quite cool and quite nice. Thought it was worth to point out. And yeah, so now let's go over the suit and body. Alright, so overall the way it looks, the suit looks really nice, I have to say. I really do like the overall design. Getting a close shot on it. Here it is, as you can see, some wonderful texture. You've got all that little detail in there. I love this detail from this costume, like not just this figure, but the actual like character. I love it. Love it in the Movie Masters figures as well. So Hot Toys, of course, represented it quite nicely. And well, from watching another review, they pointed this out, and I did check, and you know they were right. Is the Superman symbol is a little smaller than it should be, because it's really much closer to his neck. So if you go check out a picture, you'll see that. But overall, I would have never noticed it if somebody didn't say that. So I'm not really not that all upset about it. So, but it is something worth mentioning. Of course, you get this nice detail. I like the kind of the waist design and kind of how it goes down to his legs and it goes up to under his arm. I always love that design. I think it was really cool. That was definitely something that was different, much different from any version that we've seen before, which I think worked out quite nice. The kind of like cufflinks on his arms are really cool. The only thing that I don't like about these are you can't put handcuffs on them. At least I tried it with the Joker handcuffs from the Joker 2.0. It didn't work. You couldn't get it perfectly on him. You could get it in some angles where it looked like it was on him, but it actually really wasn't. So that is a little disappointing, but not a big deal. And as it goes down, it's very good. Overall, really love the design of the suit. The way it functions, it still allows you to have plenty of posability. You can really do quite a lot, which is great. Now, the consequences to doing a dramatic pose or whatever can be severe at sometimes, unfortunately. His back is kind of arched out a little bit. If you have it, you know, down a little bit, as you can see, you get a big crease just there, and look at that, that looks terrible. And if you go down even more, it just becomes worse. So overall, really don't like that. You have to have him kind of stretched out a little bit to have a perfect seam there, as well as Same thing on the elbows. When you bend them, you get creases in there. You know, you're gonna have poses where you bend his elbows, so that's kind of you can't avoid it. It's just a matter of you know, dealing with it, and that is a little bit unfortunate. Same thing with the hips. You crease them, you get these huge creases. I mean, they're not terrible. It's just when you have him in a position for a while, and therefore the creases kind of stick even when you move him. Let me show you what I'm talking about with that. Alright, so here's what I'm talking about when I say that. When the way I pose him on my shelf is I have him in a kind of flight pose, but a very kind of static flight pose. The only real thing is his knee is kind of bent over here, ankle's kind of down like this, and then this ankle's kind of down. This is kind of how I keep him. And as you can see, when I straightened out the knee to do this review today, there's some massive creases. And I mean, the knee's straightened out so that there shouldn't be any creases. So it was just the fact that I had it slightly, and I mean slightly stretched for about a week or two, it became kind of permanent little wrinkles there. Like over here, it's nice and smooth like it should be. So that is quite disappointing. If you're just doing a pose to take a picture, it won't be. I don't see any consequences with that. That should be fine to do, and there shouldn't be any problem. It's when you are putting him in a pose, and even if it's a very slight pose like I had him in, that could leave him, you know, with some damage, I guess. I'm sure that there's ways that you can fix this with heat and with, you know, stretching it or something. I just don't want to go through that. So, and I really shouldn't have to be quite honest. This should not be a problem. I mean, you know, they could come up with material that's not a problem. I really don't have that problem with my black suited Spider-Man. Very similar type of suit, at least. It's all skin tight, so you'd think that they'd be able to fix that over here, but it really isn't. So that is quite unfortunate. You know, it could be a huge deal to some of you, and for others it could just be, oh, that's not a problem for me because I won't put them in a pose like that. But you pose junkies that really keep your figures in poses, you might have something to think about there. As you can see, the cape is really nice. It's got a really good texture too, very shiny. I think it looks great, really quite elegant. I would have liked the wire in it, but then it couldn't hang naturally, and considering a lot of poses you have it kind of hanging naturally as he's flying, that would have been a shame. But I would have loved a wire in this cape. It would have been so cool to be able to wire it up and to give it a nice pose and everything. But overall the suit itself looks great, and it just has a few of those type of issues that could be a problem for some of you, and it is a little disappointing overall. As far as doing like a flight stance with arms in front of his face, I mean, you can do it. It's incredibly hard. I haven't personally done it. I did it close to it, but I didn't actually do it the full amount. You know, it's mostly because you're worried about damaging the suit. If you really don't have any worries about that, you can get him in a really cool looking pose. And if you're willing to just kind of leave him like that, I say go for it, you know, go give him a nice sick pose where he's flying in the sky and everything, but the only thing is when you move him all back together, he's probably going to have some wrinkles everywhere, and that's going to be disappointing. But overall, the actual the suit is great looking, it's functional, it's pretty functional. I mean, you get a lot of posability, just have to deal with that aftermath of it, but overall it's quite nice. The suit's great. I like that you don't have to clip it in yourself too. You know, that's just something that was from like Batman. I didn't enjoy clipping in the cape itself, and this, you know, yeah, you didn't have to clip it in. It came pre-clipped in like that, so I'm kind of happy about that. And as far as actually the body sculpt, really cool. The muscles are great. I mean, a lot of people were complaining about that with the preview pictures. They fixed that, like they said it would, like they said they would too. And he looks great. Love the structure of the body. I think it's quite accurate. The only thing that is a little is that he's quite tall, and I'll do some size comparisons right now, but he is quite tall, so let me give you some size comparisons. Alright, so let's do some size comparisons. So first of all, as you can see, they are all standing on regular Hot Toys bases, so they're all on the same level. So as you can see, Superman is taller than both of them, for sure. And Captain America is a very tall figure. I have said in my review that I think that he's a little too tall. And, you know, in my review of Captain America, if you watch that, I did some comparisons with him and Red Skull, as well as with him and some of the other Avengers. figures and from pictures and from actual heights of the actors, I determined that Captain America was too tall. So to see Captain America being, you know, almost dwarfed by Superman, it's like, whoa, you know, I really didn't think that they'd have a normal figure come out that's taller than this Captain America. I thought that this would be the height limit for a regular human figure, and apparently it is not, especially since the soles on Superman's shoes, or, you know, stockings, whatever you want to call them, are so thin. So it is very, he's out of proportion. He's not in scale. I mean, I look at him with Hawkeye. Hawkeye is so much shorter than him, and I'm gonna go get the measurements of the actors real quick so I can actually do some real life comparisons for you in a second. Alright, I went and got measurements for the actors, and Henry Cavill is taller than both of them. He is 6'1", Captain America Chris Evans is 6 foot even, and then Jeremy Renner Hawkeye is 5'10", so he is taller than them. But as far as the actual figures, he's too much taller than them, figure-wise, because as you can see, he's only an inch shorter than Chris Evans, or an inch taller than Chris Evans in real life, and he is quite a bit taller than him in this shot right here. And then you compare him with Hawkeye, which he's 3 inches taller, and he is definitely a large amount different height than him. And you know, he doesn't look great. He's still, you know, very good. I mean, without doing what I just did, having them all stand completely together on the same level and going and actually getting the actor's measurements, you wouldn't notice so much that he's so much taller than he probably should be. Overall, it's not a terrible scale though. It's fine. It fits in perfect, and it's really not that it's not that bad whatsoever. But overall, he is quite tall for the average figure, and just taking away, you know, accuracy, it is kind of nice to have Superman be tall, because Superman is the ideal. Yeah, I know that he's a Krypton, but human being. I mean, when we think of somebody who is just the best at everything, you know, you just think of Superman. I think that Superman is like the second most known thing in the world, other than like the cross, the Superman symbol. I mean, I think that they said that in the behind the scenes of the movie. It's just crazy how big Superman is. So a larger than life character obviously needs the ideal person to fit in him and give him that look. So making him a little taller than he probably should be as far as toy form isn't a bad thing. So overall, scale, I don't mind it. It's fine, and it looks good. Alright, so overall this is a very good representation of such an iconic character from a very good movie last year, the Man of Steel Superman. Overall, very good. I really did enjoy this figure. It was a figure that I was quite anticipating, and it was quite fun. I did have one night where I really sat down and posed him a lot, and I had a lot of fun with it. I posed him a lot with Bane, because, you know, without Zod, I wanted to get him a pose with somebody, so I had fun posing him. He's definitely a fun figure that you're going to have. I don't want you to think, based on what I said about his suit, that you're going to get this guy, you're going to take him out of package, you're going to be so scared, you're going to pick him up, you know, just a little bit and just, you know, clamp him on the little clamp and then throw him in your cabinet and never going to touch him again, because that's not the case. It's posing him like this. You can see those lines on his elbows and everything. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to straighten him back out and put him back on the flight stand with the bent knee like I had him before, and everything's going to be great. It's when you know, pose him in an extravagant pose, I would say, where it is stretching out the suit for some time. It's all about the time. Just, you know, having him like this a day probably wouldn't affect him. It's having him like this maybe, you know, a week or maybe like a full day, you know. Having him like this for a few hours is not a problem whatsoever. So overall, a great looking figure, an iconic character, and I think that you just have to say Superman, and that's it. That's enough to warrant a purchase, because Superman is such a great character that everybody wants a Hot Toys of him. I mean, of course. So this is a very nice representation of this character, though. I do like it. You know, I think it could be improved, and I think that we're going to get an improvement eventually, but for now, I think it's really quite great, and I really do enjoy this figure, and he looks fantastic. I really want to get Zod, because at the moment I don't have Jor-El. I want somebody to go with him on my shelf, and Zod will do just that. So I'm looking very forward to the future of the Superman movies, as well as the Superman toy line, because this is quite a nice figure. So there you go. So that's my very review of the Hot Toys Man of Steel Superman figure. Thank you so much for watching.